ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Two Critical Podcast. Oh, all right, Rob, what's going on?
That was much smoother.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
none of that glitched. Yeah,
I'm not rendering in the background. So
yeah, take 12.
I'll do my other work when we're done doing this. All right, what's going on? What's in the news?
Well, my favorite film series came out with its title this week and its first trailer.
Ghostbusters.
Which I will say, like, it was supposed to be a teaser. I mean, that felt like a full trailer. It didn't really.
No, I would consider that a full trailer. Sure. Should we cue it up?
Yeah, we can watch the trailer real
Okay,
quick.
here we go. Little too late for me.
I'm telling you, it's
Cobra
be
Kai got to them way before
this
the sun.
Heat alerts in effect for New Jersey, feeling like 100 degrees.
Everybody, chill.
What is that?
You're right. Uncle Sam.
And now here comes the Afterlife trailer.
For the first time in New York history, people froze to death in the middle of July.
What is it?
The death chill. The power to kill by fear itself. Your veins turn to rivers of ice. Your bones crack. And the last thing you see is your own tear ducts freezing up.
Like, literally scared to death? So cool.
Okay.
So, first of all, I kind of disliked originally that it seemed like they copied the Afterlife trailer, but obviously they did it intentionally. Like they used the same sound, the same, the sound of the Ecto one, the same, music.
One
It's
of
the same.
One of us
probably the
ran them
same
side
length.
by side.
Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't love it at first, but now I kind of do like it. I will say this. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read online that the Italian version of the movie, the translation is Ghostbusters Glacial Menace. And I think that's
terrific.
Can
we refer to it as Glacial Menace from now on, please?
the French title is La Menace des Glaces.
In the movie Joni Loves Chachi, they had to change the title because in Italy it means Joni loves blowjobs.
That's not true.
Yeah, because I think Chachi Bucci means blowjobs.
How could she love them? She loves giving them.
I don't know what her personal preferences are, but I do
half
remember
the population likes to suck cock. The other half of the population likes to have the cock sucked.
Right. Either way, when you shake a hand, there's a dick that's been in there.
Oh man. So
yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious here. You didn't like the trailer. I did.
Yeah, no, it's pretty goofy. It's pretty goofy.
Yeah, but I have a feeling it really doesn't give that much away. I mean, obviously it tells you what the story is going to be.
They kept back more of the goofiness, I'm sure.
I think there's going to be more to it. I also think that we're going to get maybe the fastest start to a Ghostbusters movie we've ever seen.
Okay.
Because think about it. Ghostbusters 1, how long does it take before they're in the library?
10 minutes.
But then after that, how long is it until they go to the hotel?
Probably maybe the 26-minute mark, I'd say maybe.
Afterlife, it was build up. Other than the opening with Spengler,
Yeah.
with Egon, it was build up for the first hour and 15.
Yeah, it was not good.
Ghostbusters 2, we don't see them in action for a long time.
Yeah, but the
I-
whole thing about Ghostbusters 2 was you already knew they were Ghostbusters. They needed to
But
There was-
they had to
yeah.
introduce the new group in Afterlife. I think this one, I'm hopeful they're kind of hitting the ground running. I think they're going to get right into it. Kind of like, we said the best thing about Spider-Man Homecoming is they just said, he's Spider-Man, deal with it. Like, no, same with the Batman with Pattinson. Like, we've done the backstory so many times. I like that Frozen Empire, in theory, should just start and go. Obviously, they're going to have to introduce the Patton Oswalt character and some of the other people that are new. But I really, I don't think, I read some people saying, the trailer gave away the whole movie. I don't think it did. I really don't. I actually found it to be more informative, the YouTube description under the trailer, than the trailer. Because it says they have, a high-tech research facility that they've established. And they come across an ancient artifact, and that's what unlocks whatever we're going to, go up against here. I thought that gave more information than the actual trailer. From the trailer, we don't know who the villain is. No one has any idea.
Doesn't that sound like the first Avengers though, where they got the Tesseract and it just opens the portal and then all the bad guys come walking in? Doesn't it sound like that?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't look at it as.
So we know that Winston has a lot of money, right?
Yes, and he's
so
the one funding the new, and obviously the firehouse is up and running.
Yeah, so we can assume now this is to me this is the next logical step, although they don't seem to want to scale up Ghostbusters for whatever fucking reason. The next logical step would be to franchise it out, because they keep dropping all the franchise teasers and stuff, but none of that stuff has happened. If Winston has a Shield-esque facility where they actually do real science on ghosts, so imagine a Shield type laboratory where you walk in and it's a clear wall and you can see the ghosts on the other side. So imagine a containment unit that you can actually see what's going on inside the containment unit. That's the type of science or research that they're doing. I hope they would do something like that. I got a feeling it's going to be Ray in his bookstore next door to
you don't think it's going to be Gruberson and Phoebe?
No, I just think they're going to be doing stuff on the internet, or they'll be.
I'm curious if prior to the chill happening, the freeze or whatever happens there, are there any ghosts in New York prior to that?
I think the movie will open up with a big sort of
You don't think that's the opening scene?
No, I think there's going to be an Ecto-1 sequence.
Yeah, you're right.
That shows them busting ghosts.
If them unlocking some artifact is what sets that off, yeah, you're probably right. Now, I don't agree with one thing you said. You said you think at some point the original Ghostbusters are going to get frozen, and it's going to be up to the rest to save them. I really hope you're wrong about that, and here's why. Because the trailer says your veins turn to a river of ice, your bones crack, and the last thing you see is your own tear ducts freezing over. If you can get frozen and survive, it takes all of the fear and threat away. So I really hope that it's not that. I really hope that it's if you're dead, you're dead.
So we've learned from all these magical fucking films that they make nowadays that, first of all, nobody wants to kill their cast off, and second of all, nobody kills anybody. There's no sort of.
I think there's a chance they do kill Lucky. Although I feel like if they were going to kill the Lucky character off, they probably wouldn't show it in the trailer. But they showed her starting to freeze, and they showed her tear ducts freezing.
Great.
I don't think they'll kill her. I think right before she's frozen, they will save her.
They're not going to kill anybody in this. They will unthaw all of the whole population in New York City.
I disagree. And if that happens, I will be upset.
I'm telling you, nobody fights real people. It's a drone army. It's a ghost army.
I'm okay with it being a ghost army. That's fine.
but there should be something at stake. Like, you know, if a ghost is like walking up and down, Fifth Avenue, and he's like throwing mailboxes and taxi cabs, like people should be killed.
I think there will be.
I doubt it.
Huh?
I don't think they will. I think this is going to be another fun family adventure.
I think you're wrong.
I want it to be great.
I think you're wrong. Now I'm a little curious why Lucky is out of Oklahoma and all the way in New York City now.
You mean the girl that flipped burgers?
Well, again, so here's my thought on that. It's summertime, so maybe during summer break, they come back to New York, or she comes to New York to visit. I keep forgetting his name, the Finn Wolfhard character, Trevor.
Mike.
Trevor. No, that's Mike Wheeler. Now, I'm curious. You know about the two people that are returning for this movie outside of the big Ghostbusters, right? There's two. One of them was in Afterlife. One of them was not.
Who else? What? Annie Potts?
Yeah. So Janine Melnitz is in the movie again.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. I think the biggest get would be for them to get Rick Moranis to make an appearance out of retirement. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. I don't think. I'd love to see a Janos Poha reference, but you know who the other person is that's returning from the original that wasn't in the sequel, correct?
It's going to be Dick.
Walter Peck is in the movie.
Oh, thank God.
So I don't know if he's going to be, he can't be the mayor after what happened in the original.
Can you imagine if they brought him in and he was 100% Team Ghostbusters? Like they flipped his character.
I'm kind of wondering if, like, what if he, like, after the events of the first one, like, was down in his dumps and, like, Winston offered him a job and he, like, worked for them. Like, he's like their helper. Like, he gets the proton.
He's still a stickler.
Proton packs.
He's a stickler still, but he, like, appreciates, all the stuff. You would hope. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a huge surprise that he's in it. But I was surprised when I read that, of all the people for them to bring back.
Well, you would think
where's Lenny?
Where's Lenny? If they open the firehouse again, they need to get, like,
permitting,
right? And obviously the containment system fails again. We see that happen.
His name is Gary Gruberson.
Yeah, and I don't get the mom. I don't get the mom either. How does the mom? How is look? If you have an unlicensed nuclear accelerator, now just imagine we know
bypass the compressor.
We know how everyone feels about firearms, okay? Especially the people in movies. And I mean,
lightning
movie
guns
itself,
are different. Lightning guns are different.
You're right. So if you can't own firearms, right, and people hate guns, they're totally fine with these teenagers running around with proton packs.
Listen, so if I had to guess, not even guess, if you're telling me that, Trevor and Phoebe are actual Ghostbusters and, podcast and Carrie Coon's character, if I had to figure out how Callie, Egon's daughter, is involved, my hope would be that they do have a team of Ghostbusters that works with them now, not just the old crew.
Yeah.
They die in that original Frozen Empire coming to life. So all that's left is the originals and the new family. That could explain that. Because, again, we've talked about this before. If ghostbusting is a common thing now, and the original three, Venkman, Aykroyd, and Ray and Winston are running it, you shouldn't be strapping a proton pack to a little, high school girl. Even if she is a scientist, you should be getting, Navy SEALs and Army Rangers and training them. We've talked about that before.
Right.
But that could be a way around it, especially if, like, they're not actively fighting ghosts. If they're doing research and there really is no fighting, then it makes sense why you don't have an alpha force that, comes in. But yeah, I asked you this question when the trailer for the first one came out, and we were off in the wrong direction on it. How much screen time do you think Aykroyd, Murray, and Hudson have in the movie? And I don't think in the first one it was equal. In Afterlife, I don't think it's going to be equal in this one.
No, Dan Aykroyd's going to get way more screen time than anybody. Ernie Hudson's going to get the
I think
second.
Ernie's going to be right there.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
So I think the first time we'd have to go back and listen to the episode we did, like whatever it was, 2 or 3 years ago. I want to say we said as long as they were in it for 25 minutes or more, we'd be happy. That was the number we settled on, and they were in it for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I think this time, if I was setting the over-under, I would bet Murray is in it for 15 minutes or less.
Yes.
I think Aykroyd will be in the vast majority of it.
Yes.
And I think Hudson will also.
Yes. Yeah. And I think they're going to use Ray's, which I'm totally fine with. Ray's a cult. They're going to pop in and he's going to pull a book off a shelf like every fucking horror movie that you've ever seen.
Well, because it looks like, I mean, I don't know, but it looks like Patton Oswalt probably works for Ray's a cult.
He's the new Dan Aykroyd.
But it looks like he works for Ray's a cult.
Yeah. Well, because you need people to bounce the exposition off. So those guys are going to drive that. And I'm sure while they're out in the field, Ray's going to have his books, or Patton Oswalt's going to be flipping through his books. And he's going to say, I just found this. Or they're going to have to go to the New York Public Library to a special section and find
I'm
a
curious
book there.
about the Kumail Nanjiani character. Like, I have no... Like, is he in Ray's a cult, or is he like a Ghostbuster in training? Or, you know, I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to come out with...
They're checking all their boxes there.
Are they going to come out with a longer trailer? I know they'll come out with more trailers, but
yeah.
I don't really want them to reveal much more than what they have.
I mean, you got to give us something. Did they ever reveal the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the original Ghostbuster trailer? I think they did.
The mini ones, yeah. Yep.
No. I mean, in the first Ghostbusters movie.
Oh.
I think they did. I don't think they held that back. I think back then they didn't really give a shit about stuff like that either.
They did get very lucky with the fact that it wasn't named Ghostbreakers, though. I can tell you that.
Yes.
I still can't believe that was going to be the title if they couldn't get the rights to Ghostbusters.
I know.
That blows my mind. Yeah, I don't know. I'm choosing to be optimistic here. Because I chose to be optimistic for the first one, and we were both pleasantly happy when we left the theater. It wasn't perfect. Afterlife wasn't, it's my third favorite Ghostbusters movie.
Correct.
But they didn't ruin it. It wasn't Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Right.
And that's all I'm looking for is, Afterlife having the same villain as Ghostbusters 1. I know a lot of people theorized and thought that maybe Vigo would be this one. I'm glad that they're going to go in a new direction. And I wouldn't even care if they do this, and then if they make a fifth one, bring Vigo back for that. I'm totally fine with that.
Aren't you supposed to lie to me and kiss my butt?
Right.
But you can't go and do the Rey Skywalker story, like Mark Hamill says, they did a story about an orphan in the desert, and she has powers, and she ends up getting these plans and blows up the Death Star. Like, what an original idea. Like, you can't just keep copying. I guess the one nice thing, if they did Vigo in this one, they'd have to go somewhere new for the next one. But I mean, when we first heard the name Frozen Empire, I was like, weird fucking name.
I want them to learn from their mistakes, and I don't think that they're going to.
You're scaring the straights, okay?
I'm pretty hopeful for this. I
want it to be good.
I maintain what I said to you earlier when we were talking on the phone. I think that Ghostbusters Afterlife should have been titled Ghostbusters 3, and I think this movie should be called Ghostbusters 4. Yeah. I don't know why every movie has to have like a tag in the title with it.
I don't know either. They're craving their own identity so badly.
Yeah. And Afterlife, I suppose if it was the final one, then giving it its own title would be, whatever. I'm not so sure that you needed to do that, but again, like Podcast is also in the movie, and he's in New York. So Lucky and Podcast, who are from Oklahoma, are in New York City. Now, again, if the opening scene is the two of them getting off a plane and they say, school's out for the summer, I'm so glad you guys came to New York to visit us. Okay. Like,
hence the summer vacation angle. The cool summer, kids are on the beach hanging out.
And now it all makes sense why they're in New York. But I don't know how old Podcast would be in this, but I'm going to guess he's around 14. If
Right.
there's just a 14-year-old kid from Oklahoma living in New York City, like, are we supposed to believe his parents uprooted and moved? Like,
Well, I mean,
I think they're going to lean into that summer angle. I don't think they're silly enough to just like act like they all went to New York together, families included.
and now suddenly the mother's pulling up down enough money where she can live in New York City.
Well, if Winston pays her royalties on the Ghostbusters rights because all 4 of them are split,
Boy, it seems like a lot that you could explain with just 1 or 2 sentences, which probably won't be.
yeah, I mean, listen, maybe Winston said to her, I'm starting the Ghostbusters back up, and as far as I'm concerned, you get your father's shares, and we want you to come work at the company. Maybe Janine's in the movie just training her on how to be the bookkeeper, and her job is to be the new bookkeeper. Now, I don't know how that puts her on a roof in a parka, but
In a turtleneck and a jumpsuit.
if the world is ending, you had a big thing about the red jackets. Like you do not like the big puffy jackets. I don't get it at all. I don't get why it bothers you.
Because I'm looking at that from a production point of view. So they clearly, and we know Jason Reitman is obsessed with the equipment. We've seen him go to all the different events and things like that, and he knows where all the buttons and switches are supposed to be. He's a stickler. He was born with that stuff. So I understand someone's going to look at all the equipment in the production design and say, what can we come up with next? Because for however many years Ghostbusters has been around, since the 80s, people have been dressing in the same jumpsuits with the same equipment. So they have made upgrades. You can tell that the Neutrona wands are different. There's different stickers and lights and things like that on the proton packs.
If they've restarted the program and like maybe that's some of the stuff that Phoebe and Gruberson are working on is upgrading it, like
right.
But my whole thing is like the big puffy jackets. Well, yeah, like if it's the middle of summer and now all of a sudden it's negative 10 degrees in New York City and you're outside fighting the frozen empire, like you probably want a warm coat.
And I'm sure you can probably find them on Amazon.
Not yet.
I'm sure somebody grabbed something from Amazon and then they sewed some patches and some fucking lights on it. And then that's that. And then now you're going to see all the Ghostbusters all around the world buying up 5XL size jackets for their cosplay. I can't wait to see that. A lot of dehydration.
You don't think there's any chance that Aykroyd or Venkman sacrifice themselves at the end somehow? I don't think there's any chance that it's Winston, because I think he survives. You don't think there's any chance Aykroyd sacrifices himself to save Phoebe or something?
I don't. I mean, look, even if they're not in the movie, they're still making $20 million per movie. So it's not like they have to be in it in order to get paid. As long as the property is still making money, they'll still make money themselves. So what is their, what's in it for them? What's the incentive for them to be on camera? Unless, well, we know Dan Aykroyd truly likes it. We know Ernie Hudson would come to your house right now and clean the pool if you asked him.
Dan Aykroyd wishes this was Ghostbusters 10.
It should have been.
We've talked about this with Indiana Jones before. We've talked about it with Star Wars before. I mean, Star Wars is obviously, caught up. They've made enough stuff now, but like we should have got, when was Ghostbusters 2? 92?
No, 89.
Was it? Oh yeah, you're right. It is.
Yeah.
So I mean, we should have gotten
89,
3.
Batman.
We should have gotten 3 in 92, 93. We should have gotten 4 in 97. We should have gotten 5 in 2000.
But here's the thing. Like long ago, when people made a trilogy of films, that was it, right? For them to settle on number 3, and you always heard about like when they pitched the Matrix films, they came in, they gave them 3 movies, and that was.
But it was always just the personal shit with Murray and Ramis. It was never because they didn't want to make it.
But people also looked down on the industry of making a Part 4. They thought it was a joke, which is why they made all those jokes about all the different Rocky movies in like.
I don't know. Tom Cruise seems to be making quite a bit of money off of Mission Impossible franchise.
But then everything became a universe and a multiverse, and so there's look, if there's a demand for something, keep giving it to people. I don't know why they struggle with that concept.
I don't want them to make Ghostbusters movies for the sake of making them.
Right.
I want them to make them if they have more good ideas. Like every show at some point gets to a point where you're like, should we make more of this or should we end this? And
Yeah.
if Frozen Empire is the last one because it's the last good idea they have, that's fine. But I would love to see Ghostbusters movies set outside of New York, other than Oklahoma. Give me a Ghostbusters movie in New Orleans. Give me a Ghostbusters movie in Europe.
Right.
You know, I just think there's so many cool
There's
things
so
they
many
could do
there's
with
so
that.
many paranormal events that have happened all around the world. And it doesn't have to be just ghosts. They can be fighting, there can be UFOs involved, there can be all sorts of stuff. That Bigfoot, like they've done all those storylines in like the comics and in the animated series. Anything paranormal, you know, they could do. They could fight people that are psychics or mediums, or like, and how come there isn't one in the group? Why isn't there a psychic or a medium in the fucking group?
Because psychics don't exist.
Right. I forgot.
The cards were marked.
But imagine if they did a version of Ghostbusters where it was like The Walking Dead, except the ghosts are the actual enemy, and like the world is like a wasteland, and there are these small groups of people that have like made these like ghost traps, but they have to cobble them together from like whatever they can find, and they're able to catch ghosts like out in the wild and still actively are Ghostbusters, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that I need to see like a wasteland, like Walking Dead type of situation.
Oh, see, I've always imagined in New York City, there's nobody in New York City. It's just the dead, and it's filled with ghosts, and they bring in every Ghostbuster from every franchise onto the island, and they just send them in there to fight ghosts.
I like the New York stuff, but I wouldn't mind getting out of New York. Give me something around Halloween in Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Ghosts of the witches that were hung are coming back or something. You know, I just think there's so many different ideas they could do, but we're probably, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming if Frozen Empire does well, Reitman will immediately start working with Gil Keenan on the 5th installment. I'm just guessing.
Right.
And I'm kind of guessing that as long as they're making money, Sony's going to keep saying, make another.
I mean, you would hope so.
Again, I just hope it's done because they have, I got a great idea for what's next. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for, you know, this obviously isn't like, you know, like Stranger Things was written. They said it was going to be 4 to 6 seasons. They knew what the story was going to be roughly. This is like they're writing this one movie, finishing it, and then like they might have an idea for the next one, but I don't think. I'm curious to see if there's anything at the end of this. Like the last one clearly kind of alluded that like they'll be back.
Right.
I'm curious if there's going to be. I'm sure there's going to be post-credit scenes again. We got it last time with Annie Potts and Ernie Hudson. So I'm curious to see when this is all said and done. You know. And whatever the Frozen Empire is defeated. If, like, can you imagine if the after credit scene is just something that alludes to Vigo?
Yeah.
Like the after credit scene is someone cleaning up a building after they've fixed it, after all of the ice mess and everything else. And you see someone like going down through the basement and they're mopping water off the floors from where the ice melted. And you just see this room of like old paintings and stuff.
Yeah.
And right as the camera's done, you just see Vigo's boots in a painting. It doesn't even show all of Vigo, just his boots from that original painting.
Yeah.
You see a big painting there with just the boots on it, and then just fades to black.
Or how about like the water from the melting ice rolls like down the floor and then pools
and
around the bottom
to turn
of that
to slime. Starts to turn to a reverse slime
around the bottom of that painting. Yeah, and then it just like crackles.
Are they going to do something with the Statue of Liberty again? I'm not saying they're going to get in it and ride it and bring it to life, but
I don't think so.
You think they'll just ignore?
I think sadly, I bet the writers in that room would go, "Oh no, it would be too political if we use the Statue of Liberty as some fucking symbol." Yeah, I believe
I don't think they should use it, not because of that. I just think like it's been done. Like, don't copy too much of what you've already done.
I think they would steer away from that for that specific reason.
So
you
Empire
know they
State Building.
It
has to be involved somehow, right?
Of course. It'll have something to do with a lightning rod or someone who built that building, or
And I guess, I guess, like, I never really thought of it this way. Like, was Vigo really a ghost?
no, he was
Right?
he was
I mean, because
he was a reincarnation. He was a
right,
real
because
thing.
Gozer wasn't a ghost either. Like Slimer's a ghost.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, I'm curious, like, what this frozen, but like Vigo and Gozer were like in a human form.
Yes.
Clearly, whatever this thing isn't in a human form.
Right.
It's, it looks like something out of Fortnite. Like,
Yeah. So they go back to the New York Public Library. I'm thinking that's going to have a bigger role. I envision them back in the New York Public Library, researching something in the old book section. I know in the last Ghostbusters video game, they specifically went back to the library because they were looking for specific books that were going to help them solve whatever this new, paranormal problem was. Shit. I can't think of it. Speaking of video games, Rob.
Begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check out CT GamerCon happening at Mohegan Sun Casino, April 6th and the 7th. CT GamerCon and anime, video games, April 6th and 7th at Mohegan Sun. Rob, you play video games?
I've been known to dabble.
You should go to GamerCon at Mohegan Sun, April 6th to the 7th. Game room, Saturday and Sunday. And they're having a cosplay contest.
Did you make this?
Tabletop gaming, retro gaming, all at CT GamerCon. Go to ctgamercon.com.
Game over.
All of your info.
Did you make that?
Of course I made it.
That's phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, so in I think there's a lot of elements from some of the video games that they're trying to sneak in there, because there is a new Ghostbusters video game that's coming out as well. I know what I was going to say. I think the guy that's in the trailer with the blonde hair and the glasses, I think he's a Spengler. And I think that they are using the Egon Spengler character from the animated series as a reference for that. And because obviously Harold Ramis is gone, I think they want to they'll be able to write an Egon character by having a Spengler family member in there, and they'll be able to write all of Harold Ramis's dialogue and just give it to this guy.
I mean, it's too young to be Oscar Venkman.
Yeah, how old did we say he would be? 30 something?
So 89. So he'd be 30. You know what? I'm looking at the trailer right now. Dude, this could be Oscar Venkman.
Yeah, but look at the hair and look at the glasses. Now
I
look,
understand that.
Look at the guy from the animated series.
I also think they need to bring Oscar Venkman in at some point. I think it's a huge miss if they don't.
We say that. Well, maybe Oscar Venkman is the fucking lightning rod that they need. Maybe they're gonna snatch him up and sacrifice him. Maybe he's the artifact that they're talking about. Is there any indication that Sigourney Weaver is going to be back in this?
I believe she's not.
No, what a fucking waste. If anybody should be a fucking Ghostbuster, it's her.
You just say that because she's Ripley.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you not put a proton pack on her with all those sci-fi connections?
Yeah, I would really like to see Oscar Venkman show up at some point.
Yeah, but we don't even know what he is. He could be playing a fucking violin for all we know.
Maybe Kumail Nanjiani is Oscar Venkman. The containment unit in the firehouse?
Yeah.
Did you notice that in the trailer?
That it cracks in half?
Yeah, I didn't even notice. It's so quick. I didn't even notice. Yeah.
I mentioned when we talked about Walter Peck.
So when the Frozen Empire comes to, like when all the ice comes out, it looks like it breaks that. So I'm wondering if there is no ghost busting going on in New York at the time. But then this happens, and not only are they dealing with the cold snap or whatever they're doing, but the containment unit clearly gets compromised.
But don't forget, at the end of Afterlife, there was that dumb bit about something still alive in the containment unit. Well, if you shut the power off and all the ghosts go away, no one's been paying that bill for a while. What the fuck is that about? How are there still
that's true.
ghosts in there?
What happened to the fact that they said it turned into a Starbucks?
Who the fuck knows, man? There's too many fucking loopholes.
I still don't understand the whole thing with the demon there or whatever it is, snapping two like huge horns into his head.
He probably pulled the cables out from the containment unit and jacked right into it.
They're not cables. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
that.
but did he produce those like tendrils that like join the cables or something? Like it could just be bad CGI.
No, I don't think
I bet
so.
he jacks himself into that thing and then sucks all the energy out from all the spirits they have in that box and feeds on him.
Your hammer pulled you off.
Which is I'm calling Sam Hain from the animated series. I think that's gonna play a big part in this. If not, it's gonna be heavily influenced by.
I can't tell how old this kid is. This could be Oscar Venkman. He's probably a Spengler, but how would he be a Spengler? Because
He's not a Spengler. Who's a Spengler?
the kid with the
blonde
glasses.
kid?
Yeah.
He's just a Spengler family member.
They just bring a cousin in.
Could be his nephew.
Uncle Ned's kid.
We don't know anything. Christ, you could get 3 more guys that play the exact same character as Egon. And they could be his brothers.
He's too young, I think, to be Oscar Venkman. I don't think it's possible.
Not with the hair.
I don't know, man. I'm excited. I am.
I hope it's good.
We talked about the release date because Tom was upset with March. And first of all, for me, it's just get it here as fast as it can. Like whatever that is. If March is the soonest we can get it, then that's fine. I'll take March. But we looked into the slate of movies for next year. And holy shit, is it bad?
Yeah, I'm surprised we're not in some of them. That's how bad they are.
Honestly, it's like Deadpool 3, War for the Planet of the Apes, or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, rather. Captain America movie. And then I forget, there was a couple other ones but like there was, if you said I had to see 10 movies next year, I couldn't tell you what the 7th, 8th, and 9th would be.
The sequel to Kung Fu Panda, the sequel to
Bad Boys 4, Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4.
Despicable Me, yep.
We were trying to predict which movie next year would make the most money. I think it's Despicable Me 4.
I mean, if you're under 10 and a virgin, it's going to be a hell of a summer for you.
Yeah, I mean, Despicable Me does pretty well with like teens and adults too, though. Captain America: Brave New World probably will do very well because people will be itching to just see a movie by then.
I mean, we've killed off James Bond in Indiana Jones. Where do we go from here?
I do think that
Jason Bourne's already gone.
Deadpool 3 is going to do some serious numbers.
Deadpool 3 is going to be incredible, and now, and thank God, they're going to go back. They'll probably do some reshooting, I would imagine, and they will definitely now. Ryan Reynolds will be able to actually ad lib.
Comes out in May. When do you think they have to wrap shooting to have that ready?
They probably got 2 more months.
I'm really convincing myself that James Acaster is Oscar Venkman.
No. The hair.
He's not Venkman's son.
I'm saying he's a Spengler. That's why That's why he has that hair and the glasses. He looks just like Egon Spengler from the animated series.
Egon wasn't blonde.
Neither was Egon. The Egon in the cartoons is blonde.
I think you're putting too much stock in that.
Nope. They're gonna make all these connections. It's all about family.
I'd be willing to bet you a nice dinner that he's not a Spengler. He may not be Oscar, but he's
with
not
a window
Spengler.
seat. With a window seat.
Yeah, I need something to throw you out of.
It's a 1-story restaurant.
Is Top of the Hub's closed, right? We'll fight somewhere else.
All right. Well,
Yeah. So long story short, Ghostbusters. I'm excited. You're not. And movies for next year. Just rewatch old movies that you like because there's
I
nothing
know.
coming up.
Just stay at home. Start reading books. Break out the Kindle. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's another episode of the Too Critical Podcast, and this one will be up hopefully within a couple hours.
I
Look at 'em.
can't believe that. I
Look at
can't
'em.
believe that you're not looking forward to this movie.
I am looking forward to it. I
I
want it
can't
to be
believe that you
good.
don't think the trailer looks good. I think the trailer looks good.
I want it to be good.
It's different. It's
I've
different.
Been hurt
They're
before.
branching
Oh, it
out.
is different. It is different. Hey, I'm on record. We've seen. I called out everything I think that's going to happen, and nobody gets killed. Everyone gets saved.
No.
Yep.
I'll cut my small toe off with a shovel.
You only got one left.
I really don't believe that. I really hope I'm right about that too, because it will bother me if that's the case.
Yep.
I know what you were saying about like it would be like in the first one with the Demodogs, and then it hardens and they break out of it. I don't think they're going to do that. It would take so much of the shine and the fear away.
Right.
If you get the death chill, you have to die. That has to be what it is. And if it's not, I will be very upset about it.
We're going to get a fun, family, wholesome movie with a lot of goofy humor and stuff like that.
I hope it's dark, and I don't think it will be.
No, it won't be. Let me say this.
It's going to sell a lot of lunchboxes, though.
Put Peter Venkman in an elevator with Walter Peck stuck in an elevator in the middle of like the emergency, and just keep cutting back to that every now and then. Yeah. Hit the bricks. All right. But it's not going to happen.
You could be right. You're probably right.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see, and we'll get our red Patagonia coats off of Amazon before the next screening. And I'm going commando underneath my red coat, just so everybody knows. It's just going to be me, and let my PKE meter hang right out there.
It comes out in March. I might have to wear one of those jackets to it. We'll see.
No problem. It'd be great in the Northeast, right?
Yeah. That's where I live. So checks out.
All right, everybody. That's the end of the Too Critical Podcast. We will see you again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like us, tell your friends. If your friends like us, get some new friends. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on our YouTube channel at the twocriticalpodcast.com. We're also on Instagram and social media, so check us out there. Until then, that's it, folks. Goodbye.
Ra-da-da-da-doo.